Sharjah Research Technology and Innovation Park. A dynamic ecosystem fostering unprecedented innovation. The embodiment of leadership and the realization of futuristic visions. A global launch pad for emerging technologies and startups. A pioneering platform for the growth and promotion of sustainable practices. A ground zero for cutting-edge robotic solutions. Equipped with top-tier innovation facilities. A playground for additive manufacturing and 3D printing to flourish. A cradle for nurturing and empowering human capital. Fostering growth and knowledge in the younger generation. A nurturing space for startups and entrepreneurs. A hub promoting diversity and the advancement of women in technology. A nexus for productive networking and impactful business deals. SRTI Park. A fast lane for innovation where ideas gain momentum. Your partner in progress.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to each and every one of you. My name is Fatma Batil Meheri, and I welcome you to our third edition of Innovation Tech Transfer Forum. Today marks an exceptional moment as we stand just days before hosting COP28, a time when the world will turn its eyes on us to lead the discussion for a better and more sustainable future. I must begin by expressing my heartfelt congratulations to the United Arab Emirates for its consistent recognition as the most innovative country in the MENA region. This achievement, noted by the Innovation Global Index, mirrors our relentless dedication to progress and pioneering advancements across various initiatives. Before we start, I would like to present a short video showcasing our past tech transfer events. As we move on to our first session, I have the honor of welcoming our CEO, Hussein Mahmoudi, for a welcoming speech.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies. I would like first to thank you for accepting our invitation and being with us here today in this knowledge gathering. As my colleague Fatima alluded to, we celebrate in the UAE here 50 years of knowledge, of dedication, of leadership that manifested this country into one of the leading innovation hub in this region. Today's gathering is very critical for us because first it comes at a very important occasion for us, which is our National Day, but also UAE is hosting COP28. It's a global gathering that testifies to the leading position of this country. So in the next 10 days, there will be a lot of knowledge sharing, sharing of best practices, exploring new business opportunities, building collaboration, partnerships. And here at the park, we sit in the heart of that. This is the third edition of the Technology Transfer Conference. And the objectives of this conference always been to work with our stakeholders to cement and to develop the collaboration between academia, private sector, government, and non-governmental organizations. The ranking of the UAE is something that we are very proud of, but we still believe we have a long way to go. As the Global Innovation Index indicates, the UAE invests a lot in the infrastructure of innovation, but the output that we seek is still not yet there. So today is an opportunity for us to see how can we push the envelope and develop this further. In today's session, you will hear from experts from the academic sector, experts from the private sector, experts that are involved in intellectual property and the commercialization of technology. You'll also hear stories of students. What we are trying to do here is to really develop synergies and improve the synergies between these big three sectors that really focuses on innovation. I don't want to take a long from your time, but really I would like to thank you for being with us here. It's an impressive gathering. We've tried to be creative with this event. We've set up an exhibition outside for startups. We've also invited the students to come because it's important for us to really build this synergy between the different sectors. I would like again to thank you for being here, and I wish you all the best. Thank you. So time is very precious today, and I think Fatma, you invite her. So we will start with the, sorry, my brain is not working, so we're starting with the keynotes, right? With the panel? Okay, great, okay. So without further ado, I wanted to start the session by hosting two of the biggest universities in the country. I would like to call up Dr. Todd, Chancellor of American University of Sharjah, to the floor. And Dr. Amir from Deputy Chancellor for Sharjah University also. So really the objective of this session is to get a shot on the status of academia when it comes to commercialization, when it comes to technology transfers in the UAE. And there's no better institution than the American University of Sharjah and Sharjah University to really share with us their insight. And I will start with the general questions for both of you. Where are we today in the UAE when it comes to technology transfer and technology commercialization? Dr. Todd, you want to start?
So good morning, everyone, and thank you so much, Hussein, for the invitation this morning. So as some of you may know, I'm both old and new at the same time in the UAE. I led Khalifa University in Abu Dhabi for 8 years from 2010, went back to the United States and served in a leadership capacity in the New York State Universities, State University of New York for 5 years, and then just recently returned as Chancellor as AUS. So one of the things I guess I would note with that perspective is how much things have grown over the last 5 years that I was gone. Now we all know that the UAE moves fast. It's a place of action. And I think you're quite right in noting in your opening remarks that, in terms of outputs, we're not where we want to be yet. And I think this is what this convening is going to be helpful for, amongst other things, is to exchange ideas as to how we can boost that. But I think it's also well at the same time to kind of realize, where we've been and how much growth has occurred. If you look at IP production in our universities, You know, depending on who's doing the counting, it's at least double, probably more than double than what it was just 5 years ago, right? We see that, I remember when I came to Khalifa in 2010, the notion of research intensity in universities was a relatively new idea. There were some outliers in that respect. Masdar Institute, for example, in Abu Dhabi was sort of founded on that premise together with MIT. But I think that this is something we take as a given now, that our universities are going to produce not only great graduates who are ready to lead, but also people who have that entrepreneurial spirit, who oftentimes have that experience. We have technology transfer offices in our universities, which maybe 10 or 15 years ago wouldn't have been the case. So I guess the short answer I would give to your question, at least to start with, is that I think what we've seen so far in the universities is a building of the infrastructure necessary to sort of achieve the growth we see. And we've started also, I think, to transform the culture amongst our faculty and our students. Again, I think we have some distance to go here, but if I just sort of compare personally my snapshots today as opposed to even 5 years ago, I think we've made a lot of progress. And so now it's time to go.
Thank you, Dr. Todd. I think it's a very important point that we really reflect and realize really in a short time where we were and where we are today. Young people like me like to always do things in fast, but things sometimes takes time, and I think it's important to have the infrastructure. Tamer, the floor is yours.
Thank you. My name is Muammar Battayeb. I am Professor of Electrical Engineering and Vice Chancellor for Research and Graduate Studies at University of Sharjah, next door. So, of course, most universities in the UAE are relatively young. They started as teaching universities. And the last decade or so, many of us at universities became more research-oriented, and hence now we could say that we are converging towards quality research, quality publications in many, many universities. And we are at the start of thinking or implementing these discoveries we are doing in the labs, in the research labs at universities, into potential ideas or product for possible commercialization. So this is the stage we are at. In the country, in UAE, there are many initiatives. Initiative for innovation, entrepreneurship, innovation hubs. So many things are happening. But we need to consolidate all this and make it happen because you need everybody's help. For example, UAE invested in infrastructure. This is very important. Infrastructure for innovation, entrepreneurship, and research. We have relatively, these are 3 or 4 components that make possible commercialization successful. It is, you need to have an infrastructure, you need to have rules and regulations and policies, you need to have international collaborations, because with all the areas we work on, you will never have critical mass of expertise in any area, and you need all collaborations you could have inside and outside the country to be able to produce quality products.
Okay, Dr. Muammar. I would like to build on a couple of words that you've suggested. One of the synergy, and combine synergy with impact. A lot of us believe that there are, again, investment in infrastructure, but the impact is not there. How can research initiatives be more structured to ensure that we have a positive impact, and we will see, when we say positive impact, really positive output, our outcome that really reflects on the market? How can we do that?
Yeah, so thank you for the question, and I wanted to pick up on a point you made because I think it's important in this connection with regard to impact. On a worldwide level, and I'm speaking, as higher education maybe is a little bit of an emphasis, although our universities here have grown a lot, they're still comparatively small, right? And so the point that you made about, wanting to have impact with your research, almost from a critical mass standpoint, kind of demands collaboration, right? We're talking about this now between our universities, and I think now that we've reached a relative, state of maturity, or at least getting closer to it in many of our universities, I think turning to the ways in which we can collaborate to go after important problems, combine our different strengths, because no university is great at everything. We have to pick our spots, but I think collectively, one of the things that this index shows, in fact, is that as a collective, the strengths in the UAE with regard to research are considerable, right? It's just that they're distributed. And so we have to take advantage of that excellence. And so I think that's an important point. And by the way, the degree to which collaboration occurs is one of the things that is, it's one of the things that goes into those indices. So I think that's a really important thing. I think the other thing I try to think about in the context of AUS, and as we sort of plan for what comes next for us, and I know you do the same thing, when you're kind of trying to figure out what are going to be our university level research initiatives, we can't be afraid to think big. Many of society's most pressing problems, and we can kind of see this with the startups outside, with the work that the students are doing, it has to do with sustainability, it has to do with eliminating economic disparity, on and on and on, right? These are multidisciplinary problems also. So we're not only talking about the need for collaboration between our institutions, but also within our institutions, because many of the big things we want to go after, we just launched 3 university centers, one in energy and the environment, broadly speaking, one in entrepreneurship, one in material science. Not only are these fields all interrelated with each other, but they're all multidisciplinary, and all of our colleges bring something to all of them. And I'm betting that if you walk through your offerings, you'll see the same thing. And so encouraging our faculties to collaborate and our students grow up in an environment where that sort of collaboration is happening is going to affect the next generation, I think.
It's clear. It's partnership. We have to partner with the industry, with the government, with the private sector, sit down together, figure out, identify the challenges, and work together to solve them. It's partnership, it's not collaboration. It's partnership. We want to partner with the industry to identify the problems, the challenges, and solve them together. Plus, you need the maximum number of people involved to create this critical mass. Let me give you an example we did. For all our graduate programs we have 70 graduate programs at University of Sharjah, 16, 17 PhD, and the rest master. So, and most of our graduate students are mostly locals, working in the government, the industry, etc. So we told them, hey, listen, you have challenges in your place. So we met them and identified, we got 130 challenges from these companies and government entities that have their students or have their workers doing master and PhD with us. We identified 130, 140 problems. We distribute them among our potential supervisors, and now 40 of them are subject of master and PhD thesis. See, this way, by the time the student finishes his PhD, he is solving a challenging problem at work, and this will create impact.
I would a little bit try to ask politically correct questions. One of the points that was highlighted in the study is the role of private sector. I assume these programs that you are alluding to is they are all with Sharjah government. So kind of they are, let's say, happy to work with you. But what is the role of the private sector? We do have companies here in the park. Some of them are multinationals. And I've been myself exposed to them. Some of the projects that they try to engage our universities, and they find difficulties in developing and executing these projects. Of course, it takes two to tango. But I want to focus on the private sector and have an honest, assessment where we are with our collaboration with the private sector. I think from my own perspective, the private sector, especially the multinationals, they really have to step up. The way that they look at this market mostly as a consuming market. We only here to sell, and this is all what we will do. Okay, let's engage in research. No, we don't do research here. We do it in Europe and America. So I want your experience, and how can we really make it easy for the private sector also? Because there were instances that a gentleman who wanted to do a research with one of the universities, and they've asked him for arm and leg to pay to do that. So how can we develop really a mechanism that is really a win-win for everyone? So I'll start with you, Todd, and maybe Dr. Muhammad later.
Yeah, sure. And I think this is something from a university perspective we can always get better at. But I can share maybe a couple of models, both in North America and here in the UAE, that I've sort of seen to work firsthand to, if you like, jumpstart this sort of the interaction. One of them is my experience in working with multinationals and with local industries, either one. Everybody's interested in workforce development. Everybody's interested in sort of thinking about the employees that will join them, hopefully from our perspective, from our university in a certain measure, that they have the skills, whether it's technical skills, whether it's people skills, whatever, to be successful in their business. And so one of the things that I've seen to be pretty effective in starting these relationships, building around that interest, is active engagement through things like internship programs, right? Making sure that they have an opportunity even before a student graduates, not only to interact with the university to see what it does well, but to actually take some of our students in, participate in their development. That provides valuable feedback to us too about what we can do better to be more responsive. And because we have so many of our students at AUS certainly, but also at Khalifa, engaged in research, a lot of times those internships are based around research questions, and collaborations can grow from that. And they're almost by definition of interest to that industry because they were involved in initiating it in the first place. So I think that's one. The other thing I've seen, and I will tell you this is something most North American universities are not great at, but what I've seen in industries quite often, it's not often the case in my experience, and maybe this is a little bit engineering centric, that people don't want to do R&D. It's more that the size and scope of investing in an R&D infrastructure as a company is sometimes prohibitive. So if you as a university, though, can offer them a model where maybe you can open a center together, maybe populate that center with, yes, students and professors, but also with employees. And again, maybe I'm thinking in engineering terms here a little bit. This is a model that we had a lot of success with at Khalifa. Effectively, we were inviting industry in, and we were making sure you also solve some of your problems related to translation there. Because if you're doing co-development of ideas, then and staff from local industry is involved, or multinationals, we actually had both on our campus, that gives you a natural mechanism, not only to keep your research relevant to what is of interest to your partners, but it also gives them a more ready mechanism, let's say, to translate that into something they can actually use. So those are a couple of models I've seen to be successful.
You are absolutely right. Very important for the private sector. And luckily for us, we have a very large medical and health sciences campus, the largest in the region, with College of Medicine, College of Dentistry, College of Pharmacy, and College of Health Sciences, around 200 researchers working in all these areas. And therefore, that's exactly what we did, Hussein. We met with Pfizer, with AstraZeneca, these multinationals. They have offices here. They have an R&D component. We met with them and we identified problems that are relevant to the community in cancer, diabetes, etc. And we are working on them. We identified problems. We are working on them. They are giving us some funding. The same thing we just signed last week an MOU, an agreement, concrete project with IBM. Last month with Honeywell. So this multinational, we are working with them because it's easier for us with them because they have an R&D component. They have an R&D budget. They have an R&D unit even here in the country. Some of them in Internet City, some of them somewhere in Dubai, and therefore. We speak the same language in terms of research because they have a unit of R&D, so we partner to solve problems. We are doing that.
So it's just an example of these companies. Let's say Pfizer. I assume the project is it fundamental research? I assume. What would be the outcome of this project, just for the sake of understanding? You have this agreement. What are the scope of this agreement, and is this have a market application?
Well, because in the whole country we don't have a clear ecosystem for clinical trials, let it alone at University of Sharjah or anywhere else around us. So we emphasize on diagnosis, on testing. So we are doing with Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and others. During COVID, we developed, our colleagues are even here, the inventor is here. He developed, with saliva, a very simple test that you get in a few minutes for COVID detection. And we tested it in the labs. And we have many examples like this. So we said, because we don't have all these steps for clinical trials, and they are many costly, and they are time consuming, and they take 7-10 years to do, let's emphasize on diagnosis and testing, and that's what we are mostly doing at the moment.
So this leads me to another question related to our structure in the UAE, or our let's say innovation or research framework in the UAE. Do you think the current structure is enough to be able to take us to the next step? I mean, how do you? What's your perspective on the structure or the governance of conducting R&D commercialization in the UAE?
I tell you, let me give you one thing that happened at the university. I used to be young, and I used to be a teacher, professor at University of Sharjah. Some 10 years ago, I was teaching in electrical engineering, and I was supervising graduation project, 4th year graduation project. And we were developing, I gave them the idea of developing a robot to climb in the walls, to clean things. And we developed it, and it worked. So I sent them to industrial zone next door, industrial zone of Sharjah. All the people they talked to, that was about 10, 12 years ago. All of them, they told them, you want to make this thing? We don't have manufacturing in this country, go to America. That was the answer to all my students. This happened to me 10 years ago. Now, is it better now? I am not sure. They say we don't have enough infrastructure for manufacturing to be able to develop a product ready for market.
Well, I think the good news is we do have infrastructure today, like the Sharjah Research and Technology Park. which I think was His Highness' response to your challenge. So the park was created to be a platform where we bring academia, private sector, and government, and co-create things. And that's why the park today has its own lab that is dedicated for professors, for universities, for government, and for private sector to build things. So I think we've made some good progress. My probably last couple of questions would be around, again, the legal framework. A lot of inventors, companies, when you tell them come and innovate here, they bring the question of intellectual property, their rights. So where are we with this? I know that you can register your IP at the Ministry of Economy, but still people have this perception that it is not complete. So I don't know what's your perspective on this specific point.
Frankly, let me tell you, at University of Sharjah, the last 2-3 years, we applied for about 30-40 patents. All of them are either with US or WIPO. We did not apply here or even in the Gulf.
Why?
This is the culture we don't have yet. All my faculty are here, and really, well, the why, long time ago I heard there is a big backlog. If you want to apply here, I don't know if this about 3-4 years ago. I'm not sure whether it's still. 3-4 years ago, I was told by my faculty that if you apply in the Gulf IP, you will have to wait many years because they have a big backlog. So he sent to the US, he has lawyers, and after 18 months, he has something more or less ready, or 2 years. And that's what we are doing.
Yeah, so I'll be honest, this is one of the things I'm trying to figure out. I think it's also one of those things that's maybe moved on a bit in the last 5 years. I know that at Khalifa, we did just as you've described, but actually for a slightly different reason. The advice we were given at the time was the way to make this decision about where you file depends in large part on where it's most important to protect your IP, right? And it just so happened at that particular time that a lot of the markets for our IP were likely in the US, right? Rightly or wrongly, this is the advice we got. Now, I have met with the Ministry of Economy here. I do know that they're putting a real push now on expediting these processes. So I think at least from that point of view, we should expect, there seems to be a certain sense of urgency, I think, to speeding this up, which is great. I think the question that I still need to educate myself more on, though, is what the implications are with these filing decisions on the degree to which your IP will be protected, and to what extent people can, if you're developing a technical project and maybe you want it to be protected in this region, maybe in Europe, maybe in the Americas, maybe in Asia, what's the best strategy to follow there? And I think that weighs on at least some people's minds in making this decision.
Well, from a conceptual point of view, it's clear. You want to protect I think you agree with me, unfortunately, that it's not priority to protect your product here because its potential commercialization is not going to be here. I mean, next door to you is India with 1.4 billion, and you are 10 million. So, frankly, your priority is to protect it somewhere else where its potential to commercialization and the use is so huge.
I would argue this because I think if we are talking about developing a comprehensive ecosystem of innovation, then we have to start with our own local ecosystem. The Ministry of Economy has an IP office that is really very ambitious, and they're trying to protect your IP both locally and internationally. And I think it's our duty as organization involved in innovation is to support our ecosystem, make it stronger, and make it the best that everyone comes also and register here. And this applies to universities, this applies to our work, this applies to Ministry of Education, and this applies to anyone else. Because one of the challenge, or not the challenge, one of the things I say sometimes, you know, our universities or our companies go all the way. They would work with MIT, they would work with Harvard, but they would not work with our local institution. And I think if we're really serious about moving things, this ought to change, and we have to, I think, develop our own ecosystem locally. I have one more questions before I conclude, but I think I see some hands that they want to ask some questions. I'll probably take maximum 2 or 3 questions. Doctor, he raised his hand. You wanna, so we'll take. You have an answer or question? Yes. 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 Perfect. Okay. So we'll take only a couple of questions. You have a question? No, I'll take only question. I know, but we have an IP session. Please, we have a questions, but only. So you have a question? Go ahead. What's your question, Doctora? What's your question? Okay, very clear, very clear. So we'll take another question and then I'll ask you. So the second question is, go ahead. I can't hear you. Okay. Okay. Okay, sure. Thank you. So we'll park it here with those 2 questions. You want to ask? Go ahead. Go ahead. You have a question? Sure. So the 3 questions, yeah. So the 3 questions, one is about the structure of finance and the availability of funding for research. Second one is about probably exchange programs of researchers. And the third one is the possibility of having a hub where it can facilitate research. So go ahead.
So some easy questions. Yes. Right? Well,
3 in 1.
So
You need to have a lot of money.
yeah, you do. Yeah, I think you know, the structural issues related to funding of research. I'm obviously familiar with those from my time here before, and I think that would probably be another one of those areas that's moved along in the last 5 to 10 years, but maybe not as much as, you know, we would all like to see. I think for me it underlines the importance even more of having from a university's point of view, of having a let's say, somewhat innovative way of partnering with both industry and government to sort of provide some of the infrastructure, provide some of the funding that can help germinate some of these ideas that eventually become products. But I don't think that is the whole answer. I do think that, you know, it doesn't perhaps need to be US style or UK style or EU style, but I think as time goes on, and I think that various government agencies have, you know, anticipated this need from time to time, whether it was, you know, ADEC in Abu Dhabi or whether it was the Ministry of Education. We see hints of, you know, funding international collaborations as a little bit of a start of this, but it probably will take more to really sort of touch off the sort of level of innovation, level of research. You know, unfortunately, it's a little bit like the startup space, right? I mean, there's these famous sayings about, you know, people who have been successful in the Silicon Valley. You know, it's basically 1 out of 4 maybe of their startups that are ultimately successful. The same thing is true in the research world, by the way. I mean, people who have great ideas and they may be publishable ideas, they may be interesting from some perspective, but it's going to be a smaller proportion of those ideas that can really be commercialized. But, you know, to have that volume that you're sort of prepared as an ecosystem to put out into the marketplace, you do have to have a bit of an investment in that pool of ideas that will sort of generate those future products. And I think that's probably something that will still need work for a bit.
For the first question, for funding, definitely a lot of improvement needs to be done. Let me give you an example of University of Sharjah. As we are speaking, University of Sharjah is funding from its annual budget, from His Highness, 450 projects ongoing today. 450 internal projects funded by university budget. 130 external projects. We don't have enough entities in the country giving enough funding. We apply with 30 proposals to Al Jalila, to Sanduq Al Watan, to Mohammed bin Rashid Fund, and we get 3. We call them, they tell us, hey, what are you talking about? You got the largest number, because they don't give enough. So we are telling them always, please have something at UAE level equivalent to NSF or NASA or whatever to let people compete for funding, enough funding. But we don't have enough. So this is an issue. When you go to commercialization, it's worse because you need more money. The second point about training, yeah, there are 2 issues, internal and external training. For the external outside the country training, the Ministry of Higher Education recently contacted us to be able to train locals. We take locals, PhD student or after PhD, we find for them one of the top 100 or 200 universities in all continents. We let them go for 6 months, for 1 year, locals. We bring them back and they are well trained in specific area, including innovation and entrepreneurship. This is external. Internally, I am doing it in my office. I have 3 research institutes: Research Institute of Science and Engineering, Research Institute of Medical and Health Sciences, and Research Institute of Humanities and Social Sciences. What we created is training for local people. What did we notice? Every summer, many local PhD students who are doing their PhDs everywhere in Europe and the US, they come for vacation. They have 2-month vacation in Dubai, Sharjah, Abu Dhabi, and they contact us and tell us, hey, we know you have so many research groups, you have good research infrastructure, can you train us? So we created this training for local people. Now we receive locals for 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, and train them in our research labs. We have 84 research groups with over 50 research labs. We receive them in summer or in between semesters. We train them how to do research, how to write a proposal, how to team with people in a research work, etc. So we are doing that.
Professors, and really would like to thank you for this valuable insight. I think just to summarize the session, the UAE moved very far. So, you know, in the few years we had to have such universities and infrastructure we have in the country. And we still have a long way to go. I think some of the topics raised today is very critical, especially the necessity to have a fund that is dedicated, a government fund that is dedicated for research. And I understand the Ministry of Advanced Industry actually working on such a fund, and it will be probably launched very soon. And I think it's great to have our ecosystem thriving. Unfortunately, I didn't talk about the entrepreneurship ecosystem, but this is, I guess, for another session. I would like to thank you again for your valuable inputs, and thanks again for your participation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hussein, for leading such an insightful session. And I would like to thank Dr. Todd and Dr. Muammar. I think this was a really beautiful discussion. And as we move on now to the keynote speeches, I am honored to invite His Excellency, Dr. Abdullah Bilhayf al-Naimi, to deliver his keynote speech and sharing his valuable knowledge.
Just before we start, I thought maybe I would comment on in Arabic maybe. أقول نسير للشرق والدنيا ترى غربا. I'm very sorry. Today I would thank you very much, Hussein. Thank you very much. Giving me the opportunity really to speak today on probably a big issue that would invite all of us to probably think about whether here or afterwards. I would get far away a little bit from the discussion that we have. I would not actually be speaking on my normal speeches, talking about painting the climate change in a gloomy type of paint. But this time, I would not also be speaking about decarbonization of elements, nor speak about how bad is hydrogen to us. I would actually be speaking today about making energy transition human-centered. We've been talking about energy transfer, but we've never thought if we really are connected with centering people around our initiatives. So people are really left behind. Most people do not know much about the difficulties that we face, or we will be facing even in a decade time, and maybe in less, on the impact of climate change. People are not aware that we speak about renewables and going into renewables, and we are having difficulties. People are not aware that we here in the United Arab Emirates are doing a lot, but our impact globally is not tedious, because our contribution basically to the emission is very little. We're not even exceeding 0.6% of the total emission worldwide. And what we do in the United Arab Emirates physically is a lot. We probably have the biggest in solar field in the MENA region. We have probably the first nuclear plants in the MENA region in the Arab world. But that impact is too little, because we failed, we as institutions, probably to social institutions. Maybe academic Dr. Muammar will be upset with me. Social institutions, to really convey the message right, that we are facing difficulties. Today, what we know, that 3 countries on the globe, or rather 2, are actually emitting almost 50% of the emissions. About 34% is emitted by the Chinese industry, and over than 17% is actually emitted by the United States of America. 77%, or probably close to 80% of the emission is caused only by 10 countries. And out of the 196 or 205, depending on how you identify the countries, let's assume 196 as agreed by United Nations. They only pollute or emit about the fourth. Yesterday, a couple of days ago, Simon Steele is actually the executive secretary of the United Nations, who would be actually responsible for the COP. He is the UNFCCC Secretary General. He would actually be, a couple of days ago, he painted the future in a very dark paint, beyond the black. We were looking into reducing or limiting our emissions to generate maximum of 2 degrees Celsius by the end of the century, maximum of 2 Celsius, and we shoot for 1.5 as Paris Agreement indicated. Guess what he was? This man is not speculating things like me or giving some guesses. This man is having the whole data of the globe. And he is saying we would actually be looking into about 3 degrees Celsius. Any innovation we do within the MENA region, here, or anything that His Excellency Hussein and professors have talked about, would actually be going to the west as we are going to the east. So the problem is more disastrous than only getting some research work put together. So how can we look into putting people in the center and informing them, be very much clear, informative, that we have a bigger problem than research institution or innovations that relates to academic institutions. I think that we really need to ensure that the benefits and cost of energy transition are shared fairly and equitably. Are they shared worldwide fairly and equitably? I'm not sure that it is. In Africa, the African countries contributed very little to the global warming. And they are getting the hit. Are we fair to a nation that have most of our things? We're not. 85% of the African nations are assuming that the problem would be solved once carbon dioxide is being controlled. We don't tell them that we have more disastrous things going on, even if carbon dioxide is controlled or even eliminated. I remember the time when we 97, 96, when we thought that our ozone is depleting. And then we had to fight to get this new gas and dump the old one. And guess what? We came up with a gas that is potent, and it is actually 265 times as potent as carbon dioxide. That is us, people. Without informing people in Africa or in Asia that we are going to really replace this for the good of man. That is what they understood. But it isn't. It is for the worst of Earth. So global warming is not actually shared equitably nor fairly to all nations. Knowledge transfer, and probably distinguished professor have spoken about this. Do we have enough knowledge of what we've been doing as industries today? People are assuming that we have the data. I'm not sure. I was very keen in knowing the data. I had to wait for Simon Steele to tell me that the story is not within 1.5 today. The story is severe. And I guess none of this in this room know more than that. And I am talking about people who are associated with knowledge and research in a hub like this. Unfortunately, we don't. A layman in any continent would actually be having probably the same. I'm very sorry, I have always spoken about something else, but I feel that we really need to do that bit of enlightenment. When we want to look into technology transfer and innovation, we really need to be very careful. We have to share this together with the people. They have to be aware that maybe we have risk somewhere. If we operate in a closed environment and we assume that we are doing well, I think we are wrong. And we have been wrong for a long time. If we have not been wrong, we could have been probably in a better status than having a global warming that reaches beyond our knowledge, our expectations, and even, I'm afraid that it is beyond our know-how. Now it's a problem that we face. I don't know if globally we have solutions for it. Most of the people, maybe not on this area, but worldwide, assume that the two countries that polluting the universe. Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates. Wherever I go, I read the two countries. And these two countries, their emission for a year is not actually equivalent than the emission of a factory in India and China. I was actually making a little bit of calculation some time ago where I found out that what we emit in a year is actually emitted as a methane in a month in a single country. So we really need to give the people the knowledge, because they are the people who would actually be hurt. Now also we need to address the history and the structure to the people. We really need to tell them what has happened some time ago. It was only less than 30 years ago when two countries, rather three, but the two countries led the history of our Paris Agreement today. They led that agreement simply because they could not fulfill the requirements that they have actually put to a Kyoto protocol. Canada, United States could not really cope with the requirement of a legally binding protocol, and then they say, why do we have to bind ourselves, and let alone the developing countries go higher in their development? So they would lead a movement to change that. So how are we tedious? How are we transferring knowledge to people and letting them know that if we couldn't ratify, then we would change? Only 4 years ago, United States have said, thank you very much, we don't find it useful. And they left Paris Agreement. I won't be surprised. Only 3 months ago, the United Kingdom Prime Minister decided to shift an institutional, legal binding on the Constitution of the United Kingdom, that by 2030 there would be only electric cars. He realized that it's not possible. So he shifted it without even looking into consequences elsewhere. So I think it is very essential, if we really want to be good enough and get people along with us, we really need to talk about the history of what happened for us, what happened worldwide to reach a stage where the way back is almost impossible. I know that you're looking into the time. Very important issue also when making people part of the decision making is really engaging people in clear data. We don't tell them. I was actually lecturing in Egypt some time ago. Maybe I said this story a million times because it made me feel unhappy. One of the speakers, reputable speaker, talked about that Abdullah, why are you so much worried? The problem is solved. Today we are in Egypt having hydrogen hub, and all the universe is really trying to produce hydrogen. Now, this is a speaker who I believe that he is aware of the climatic impact globally. But he is not aware that producing hydrogen is not as easy as we might be thinking. And particularly when we talk about green hydrogen. Green hydrogen virtually is impossible to make. It's virtually impossible to make in industrial basis. You can do it anytime, but in industrial basis you cannot do it. Because what you do, you are converting a potent gas, that is the natural gas of the food, into hydrogen. And in this process of forming steaming methane, you are actually producing a gas that is 265 times as potent as carbon dioxide. The nitrous oxide, and some of it is 1,600 times as much. The one that is produced in Silicon Valleys, for example. 1,605 times as much as potent as carbon dioxide. People don't know this. So we assume that the hydrogen is coming and the hydrogen is going to solve the problem tomorrow. It's not. I think simply because we are ignoring these small issues, we are creating a bigger problems in the future. We all know that gas and oil have age and they will vanish. All investigations are not giving anything more than 45 years for oil and maybe 48 years for gas. So in 40 years, we are today teaching people how to produce nitrous oxide. Everybody is doing this at home. Hydrogen is there. So it's easy to produce, and you have it almost in all YouTubes. You can see how to produce hydrogen, how to produce hydrogen at home. Simply because we did not think about people. We didn't think that this could fire back one day. And if we leave nations without enough renewables, if we don't transfer knowledge, if we don't transfer technology, this is what's going to happen. Countries elsewhere will start producing some carrier somehow. It's hydrogen, or maybe they come up with something else. But this is, again, in 100 years' time, the new generation would be facing maybe a more difficult problem than what we face today. Simply because we've given them the tool, we've given them the know-how, and we told them you can't produce hydrogen. You can produce it in your office, and you can produce it at home. So I think it is very essential to really look into how can we look into sharing data, improving the knowledge of youth, women at home, indigenous people. Very important. We have to have all stakeholders be aware of what is going to happen, even in the industry. Because whatever we produce today, within here or in Europe or anywhere, would require some kind of energy. And we always think that energy is just like the question of a chicken and egg. What comes first? We produce, but maybe we would not be able to have enough fuel to ignite this industry. I'm very sorry, I've taken more than the time given, but I don't mean really to paint another blue. I wish I could be just like Sheikh Abdulaziz and paint it green. But what I know, what I see today, does not give me enough encouragement to say life is good. It is not, I'm afraid. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency Dr. Abdullah, for graciously sharing your valuable insights. Your knowledge really inspires us. Recognizing Kuwait's remarkable strides in innovation, contributing significantly to our region's growth, I am honored to invite Her Excellency Sheikha Nabila Sabah for her keynote speech.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, and distinguished leaders in technology, innovation, and academia. Good morning. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for the privilege of addressing this gathering today. I am honored to delve into a topic of paramount importance under strategic leadership in driving innovation with a specific focus on how Al Saad Foundation, through its transformative Ibtikar program and the groundbreaking Middle East Women's Inventors and Innovators Network, MIWIN, is advancing the cause of technology transfer. Strategic leadership is the cornerstone of driving innovation within organizations. It guides teams through the intricate landscape of technological advancements and societal shifts. A strategic leader not only foresees the future, but also nurtures and an innovative culture. A strategic leader urges teams to think beyond the norms. Effective strategic leadership embraces risks, views failures as challenges to learn. It entails identifying trends, anticipating market needs, and aligning resources with a clear vision. Strategic leadership empowers teams, recognizing those diverse perspectives and how they fuel creativity. Through fostering collaboration and interdisciplinary approaches, we truly cultivate a melting pot of ideas, propelling innovation. It is not just about outpacing competition, it is about shaping the future. Leveraging technology, technology, fostering continuous improvement, and inspiring teams to turn challenges into opportunities, a philosophy embraced by Al Saad Foundation. The Al Saad Foundation, founded by Sheikh Fadia Saad Al-Sabah, is dedicated to the historical legacy of the late Emir of Kuwait, Sheikh Saad Abdullah Salim Al-Sabah. The foundation committed to advancing human development in the Middle East through various channels, whether including primary social research, public advocacy for education, advancing scientific knowledge and data-driven social change, and of course, women empowerment. At the core of this commitment lies the Ibtikar program and MIWIN, both instrumental in fostering a culture of innovation. The Ibtikar program, launched in Kuwait in 1999, and then into the Gulf region in 2010, and expanding into the Arab countries in 2020, has now expanded globally. It is a program that dedicates itself to nurturing young women's talents and providing a comprehensive education. Our focus extends beyond academia fields, encompassing essential life aspects. We promote collaboration in social and emotional skills and boost motivation. Through teamwork, growth mindsets, and risk analysis training, we uncover and develop our students' talents, fostering creativity and fluent learners. The program elevates female students by enhancing reading, writing, and self-expression. The competition empowers them with language skills, cultivates unique thinking styles, and integrates Arab identity into science fiction. Participation extends beyond the forum, involving students in interactive educational activities crucial for their growth. Our commitment to a well-rounded education is evident in unique projects. From our elementary level students, we emphasize creating scientific stories, fostering reading, writing, and imagination within the scientific fiction realm. Aligned with the STEAM curriculum, this approach introduces science and technology principles engagingly. Similarly, in the middle school level, centered on environmental projects in the STEAM framework, we instill environmental responsibility, encouraging creative solutions for positive contributions to the environment. We nurture mindsets valuing sustainability. While in the high school level, participants tackle real-world problems using technology and AI within the STEAM framework, preparing them for a rapidly advancing world. Throughout our 25 years working in the program, we have had many outstanding projects from all over the Arab region. But I would like to introduce a few of these projects to you from various different Arab countries. First, starting with the UAE project, Solar Scanner, a solar panel cleaning system utilizing IoT technology for enhanced performance. They aim to achieve sustainable through the Sustainable Development Goals, and this project actually secures the first place in our previous competition last year at Ibtikar. Another project from Saudi Arabia, which was the Smart Water Farm, is an innovative smart water farm ensuring plant self-sufficiency using natural resources and AI and hydroponic farms for global food security. Another project from Kuwait, the Aircraft Elimination System, which addresses airport fire incidents with a runway equipped for early fire extinguishing, reducing risks, losses, and pollution. Last but not least, our Palestinian project, Early Breast Cancer Detection Device, which is a non-surgical handheld device for early breast cancer detection, providing a user-friendly method without harmful radiation and increasing recovery chances. As you can see, these are all examples of different projects from students, female students, from all over the Arab region. And now I'd like to delve into MIWIN, which is our second initiative that falls under Al Saad Foundation. So in the same breath, MIWIN, launched in collaboration with the esteemed Global Women Inventors and Innovator Network, which is represented across Europe, Africa, North America, and the Asia-Pacific region, is a unique celebration and it spotlights exceptional Middle Eastern women contributing to ideas in creativity, innovation, research, and enterprise. MIWIN is not just about recognizing outstanding achievements, it's a dynamic, amplifying platform for the voice of diverse women. We work with brilliant entrepreneurs, scientists, engineers, and technologists from across the Middle East and beyond. By serving as a hub for the exchange of information and best practice, we provide women to position as crucial contributors to economies, infrastructure, development, and cross-cultural innovation. Let's move on and let me share with you the vision of Ibtikar and MIWIN to further advance technological transfer and fostering innovation. This vision is rooted in continuous improvement, ensuring relevance and responsiveness to emerging sustainability challenges and opportunities for innovation. Collaboration with industry leaders, academia, and organizations is pivotal for creating a world where innovation thrives, making every idea impactful. In today's fast-paced world, technology is defining our presence across various sectors. The Ibtikar program and MIWIN acknowledge this advancement and breakthroughs unfolded in AI, biotechnology, and sustainability, and embrace these advancements to become paramount for societal betterment. The Al Saad Foundation, promoting lifelong learning through its diverse projects, recognizes the needs for continuous skill adaptation in navigating the complexities of the modern world. So now I would like to explore the strategic partnerships that Al-Saad Foundation showcases through our commitment to advancing technology transfer and innovation. Our collaboration with the UNESCO is a prime example. Aiming to boost the global tech transfer and innovative ecosystem, addressing critical issues like climate change and social inequities, Al-Saad Foundation is dedicated to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, notably contributing to Goal 4 in education, Goal 5 in gender equality, Goal 8 in inclusive growth, and Goal 7 in global partnerships. We emphasize Goal 4 through the foundation prioritizes holistic learning, key competencies, and inclusive education, preparing students for active citizenship. Collaborative partnerships equip students with the critical 21st century skills, and our commitment to SDG 5 includes a gender-sensitive curriculum, leadership opportunities for female students, and promoting STEAM education through strategic collaborations focused on gender equality. Moreover, the Foundation aligns with the aim of financial inclusion, as emphasized in the UN Sustainability Vision, by preparing women with diverse skills and fostering an environment that values inclusivity. The Foundation directly contributes to the broader goal of financial inclusion, ensuring that individuals, irrespective of gender, have access to opportunities that empower themselves economically. In doing this, the Foundation plays a crucial role in shaping more equitable and sustainable future. Connectivity is at the core of Al-Saad Foundation's mission in fostering innovation. Our partnerships with local, regional, and global entities demonstrate the boundaries and enriching learning experiences. Those collaborations contribute to not only to regional advancement, but also to the global discourse on innovation and entrepreneurship. The Foundation organizes impactful scientific forums, exemplified by the Empowering Women in Creativity and Innovation Forum, which we had back in 2022, and the Knowledge Economy to Build a Society Supportive and Creativity and Innovation Forum, which we had in 2023. Notable collaborations like the collaboration with General Electric Kuwait provides real-world mentoring, preparing the students for professional challenges. Collaborations with ministries of education globally, including the Ministry of Kuwait, of Education in Kuwait, integrates the Ibtikar program into national educational frameworks. These strategic partnerships ensure broader outreach and lasting impact. The Foundation's training programs and workshops, along with collaborations with Microsoft and AI, underscore our commitment to cutting-edge educational developments. Impactful partnerships with regional entities like the Bahrain Entrepreneurial Organization, or today with the Sharjah Technological Park, help us foster inter-regional collaboration, particularly in promoting Middle Eastern women globally. Globally, we partner with entities like the World Business Angels Investors Forum to provide access to a network of angel investors and business leaders crucial for turning innovative ideas into realities. In the midst of our unprecedented global challenges such as pandemics, climate change, and political unrest, the path forward becomes clear, a path paved with sustainability and innovation. The Global Innovation Index annually evaluates countries' innovations, capabilities, and developed through collaboration between Cornell University and the WIPO, is a US agency. When I looked into the GII index, I saw that Kuwait is currently the 72nd on the GII. And I looked into ways on how we can climb by prioritizing R&D, backing up startups, and championing green innovation. For progress, fostering academia-industry partnerships, refining regulations, and nurturing an innovation-centered culture are vital. At Al-Saad Foundation, we align our initiatives with global trends, aiming to propel Kuwait's global standing and contribute to its innovation journey. In conclusion, partnerships are the threads that weave the tapestry of success for Al-Saad Foundation's initiatives. These collaborations, whether international or with international organizations, governmental bodies, or industry leaders, have been integral to Sheikh Afadia's vision since the Foundation's inception. And we can see this happening here today. Our goal is to achieve inclusivity and connectivity across all sectors, governmental and private, regional and global, uniting under the shared importance of paving the way for women in the future. As we celebrate the accomplishments of the past 25 years, we are eager to anticipate the future with a renewed commitment to building bridges, forming alliances, and creating a world where innovation knows no bounds. Thank you for your attention, and may our collective efforts continue to inspire and shape the future of innovation for generations to come. I look forward to engaging with thought-provoking and inspiring discussions over the course of our time together here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency Sheikha Nabila. Your expertise and contributions are highly admired. You inspire us all. I would like to announce a 10-minute break before we reconvene for our second panel.
Some facts together.